What if you could peek into the past? Imagine finding a time capsule from thousands of years ago, perfectly preserved in ice. That's exactly what happens when scientists discover frozen creatures in the world's coldest places. These frozen finds tell us amazing stories about Earth's past and sometimes challenge what we think we know about life itself. From prehistoric beasts to mysterious human relatives, these frozen discoveries are like windows into another time. But here's the real question. What secrets do these icy tombs hold? Let's uncover 5 incredible creatures that were found frozen in time.
Known as the Minnesota Iceman, entombed in a glass-topped coffin, he was the star exhibit in a traveling show which drew astonished crowds in the late 1960s. The keeper of the corpse, Frank Hansen, claimed it had been found locked in an ice floe off Siberia in the Sea of Okhotsk. For the show, the ice was painstakingly pared down over the body.
The Minnesota Iceman. It's the 1960s, and crowds gather at carnivals across America to see something extraordinary. A human-like creature frozen in a block of ice. They called it the Minnesota Iceman. Was it the missing link between humans and our ancient ancestors? Or was it all just a clever trick? The story gets even more interesting. The Iceman belonged to a man named Frank Hansen, who claimed he was just looking after it for someone else. Some people whispered that the real owner was the famous actor James Stewart. But here's where it gets really wild. 2 experts in mysterious creatures actually thought it was real. These experts, including the father of cryptozoology himself, examined the body in 1968. What did they find? A large, muscular male covered in dark brown hair. It had one eye hanging loose, supposedly from being shot in the head. They were so convinced it was real that they gave it a scientific name, Homo pomeroids. But where did it come from? That's where the story starts to fall apart. Hansen kept changing his story. First, he said it was found floating in Siberian ice. Then he claimed Japanese whalers found it. Later, he said it came from Vietnam during the war. Which story was true? Today, most people believe it was all a hoax, but a really good one. A scientist named John Napier later examined it and concluded it was just made of latex. Hansen tried to explain this away by saying he'd switched the real body with a fake one to avoid trouble. Sound suspicious? Want to see it yourself? The Minnesota Iceman now lives in the Museum of the Weird in Austin, Texas. Real or fake, it's definitely one of history's most fascinating frozen mysteries. Sasha, the baby rhino that changed history. In 2015, something amazing happened in Siberia. A businessman found something that would make scientists around the world very excited. A perfectly preserved baby woolly rhino. They named it Sasha. And it's teaching us things about prehistoric life that we never knew before. How well preserved is Sasha? Picture finding a 34,000-year-old animal that still has its fur, eyes, ears, and even its tongue. It's like looking at a rhino that just fell asleep in the ice yesterday. At only 1.5 years old when it died, Sasha is the only baby woolly rhino ever found. But here's a mystery that puzzled scientists. Why did such a young rhino die? They thought baby woolly rhinos rarely died young because mothers protected them so well. The answer lay hidden in Sasha's nose: mud. This poor baby had drowned. While Sasha's story is sad, it's helping scientists today. They can study its DNA and compare it to modern rhinos, helping us understand how these amazing creatures evolved. Sometimes tragedy can lead to discovery. The Ice Maiden, a discovery that bridges 2,500 years of human history. In 1993, scientists unearthed an incredibly preserved body in Siberia's permafrost. But this wasn't just any ancient human remains. This was the Ice Maiden, and her story would touch hearts across millennia. The woman belonged to the prehistoric people, who lived in Siberia from the 6th to 2nd century BC. Her burial spoke volumes about her importance. She was laid to rest with 6 horses, their saddles still intact, meant to accompany her into the afterlife. A container of cannabis was also found, but its presence would later reveal a heart-wrenching detail about her final days. Through modern MRI technology, scientists pieced together her tragic tale. Though only 25 at death, the Ice Maiden had endured much suffering. Since childhood, she battled a bone infection called osteomyelitis, but it was breast cancer that ultimately claimed her life. The cannabis, they realized, was likely used to ease her immense pain. Weakened by illness, she fell from her horse during her people's October migration to their winter camp. Instead of leaving behind their dying princess, a common practice in many ancient nomadic societies, they chose compassion. They carried her with them, caring for her until she passed away in their winter settlement. Perhaps most touching was their dedication after her death. They waited until June to conduct her burial, ensuring she received full honors despite the harsh Siberian winter. This extraordinary care, preserved in ice for over 2 millennia, reveals a profound truth that human compassion and loyalty transcend time itself. Lyuba, the baby mammoth that almost got away. Have you ever wondered what a baby mammoth looked like? Meet Lyuba, the best preserved mammoth ever found. She was only 35 days old when she died 42,000 years ago, but her story nearly ended in a modern-day shop. In 2007, a reindeer herder named Yuri Kuti found Lyuba in melting permafrost. But when scientists came to get her, she was gone. After a search, they found her propped up outside a store, waiting to be sold. Even worse, a dog had chewed off her ear and tail. How did Lyuba die? Like many young animals, she got stuck in mud while trying to drink from a river. Her mother couldn't save her in time. But here's the amazing part. The mud actually helped preserve her. Bacteria in the mud basically pickled her body, keeping it intact for 42,000 years. Today, Lyuba travels to museums worldwide, helping people understand these magnificent Ice Age creatures. She's so well preserved that some visitors think she might wake up at any moment.
This is Ötzi, the Iceman, one of the oldest and best preserved intact human bodies ever found. 1991. On a 10,000-foot glacier near the border of Austria and Italy, 2 hikers come across the body of a man face down in the ice. They have no idea the importance of what they've stumbled upon. Carbon dating later reveals that the body and the items found with it have been preserved in the mountain ice.
Ötzi, the Iceman who died fighting. Meet Ötzi, Europe's oldest natural human mummy and star of a 5,300-year-old murder mystery. Found in the Alps in 1991, his frozen body tells a tale that reads like an ancient thriller. Modern science has revealed fascinating details about this Copper Age man. DNA analysis shows he had brown eyes and couldn't digest milk properly. Remarkably, scientists have even identified 19 of his present-day relatives. He lived a simple life as either a farmer or hunter, never straying more than 40 miles from his home. But it's Ötzi's final day that captivates us. Evidence suggests he was caught in a fierce mountain battle. His clothes and weapons bear the blood of 4 different people. In the fight, he managed to kill 2 attackers with arrows and possibly a 3rd with his knife. However, fate had other plans. An enemy's arrow struck him from behind, inflicting a fatal wound. What makes his story particularly poignant is his final act. Despite being mortally wounded, Ötzi took time to carefully arrange his belongings against a rock before lying down in the snow. There, the ice preserved his body and his story for over 5 millennia, until 2 hikers stumbled upon him, giving us this remarkable glimpse into prehistoric life and death. These frozen discoveries show us something amazing. Ice doesn't just preserve bodies, it preserves stories. Each frozen creature gives us a unique glimpse into the past, whether it's a hoax that fooled experts, a baby rhino that changed what we know about prehistoric life, a princess whose people loved her, a baby mammoth that almost got lost, or a man whose final battle was frozen in time. What other secrets might be waiting in the ice? As our world warms and glaciers melt, more frozen stories are emerging. Each one helps us better understand our past and the amazing creatures we shared it with. The real question is, what will we find next?